One day in May 1944, Eva and her family were arrested. They were packed into cattle trains with no food and water. The train traveled for 2 days, which felt like forever. Eva and her family were terrified and scared. Even hunger was no longer on their minds. After the 2-day journey, they arrived at Auschwitz concentration camp in Poland. It looked filthy and dark. It was a miserable moment for Eva and her family. Eva and her sister could not help but ask their mother what was going to happen to them. On this lecture platform, when they were left with the others, a Nazi guard noticed Eva and her identical twin sister, Miriam. They were clinging to their mother. The guard instructed the other men to take Eva and her sister away from the family. They tore the sisters apart from their mother's arm. Eva could still remember. She had her arms stretched out in despair as she was being pulled away. Little did she know, that was the last time Eva ever saw her mother. Their first night at the concentration camp was terrifying. The twins were locked in a filthy room scattered with corpses. The corpses' bodies were naked, and their eyes were wide open. Eva stopped herself from thinking if that could be the same destiny for her and her sister. It was a horrifying scene. Eva had never seen so much blood in her life, let alone dead people. At that moment, Eva could feel herself paralyzed with fear. She couldn't help but cry for her mother. When she was led back to the camp, Eva made a silent pledge to do whatever that is within her power to survive. She knew she had to be strong. It was the only way to walk out of the camp alive with her sister and to reunite with her family. On alternate days, the Nazi doctors would put Eva and her sister naked in a room for hours. She remembered every part of their bodies was measured using very odd-looking tools. It was truly horrible, uncomfortable, and humiliating. The twins had never felt so worthless. Eva was taken to Dr. Mengele, a Nazi doctor. She overheard him telling the other men, "That's a shame. She is still very young, but unfortunately, she has only weeks of life left." Something told Eva that the doctor could be right. She could feel it in her bones, that she might not make it. But Eva was determined to survive no matter what it takes. She was aware that if she died, Mariam would be given an injection that could kill her too. By then, the doctors could dissect and cut their bodies apart and compare the autopsies. Weeks went by. Eva felt like she was on the edge of the weakest point of her life. It was to the point where she could no longer bring herself to walk. She would fade in and out of consciousness. But in the haste of her cloudy mind, she kept telling herself that she must stay alive. Nine months later, Eva and her sister returned home. They finally felt a fresh breath of hope. When they opened the doors of what they used to call home, they had found nothing but an empty house. The only thing that was left was 3 crumpled pictures of her family. It broke her heart, but she knew she still had Miriam by her side. In 1987, Miriam was severely ill due to the experiment. Eva donated one of her kidneys to save her sister. Unfortunately, she lost the battle and died in 1993. That incident broke Eva's heart because Miriam was the only family she had left. Eva refused to let her sister's death to defeat her. She recalled Miriam's last word, "It's okay. Let me be free, for I will live through you." Dr. Hans Munch and Eva had decided that they would meet at his house in Germany. As she was heading there, she was unbelievably nervous and afraid.
Attention passengers, we've now reached our destination. We hope you enjoyed the flight and have a nice day.
Looking at him for the first time, it seemed to Eva that life has had its take on the man too. He looked frail and worrisome. She was in shock to find that she was treated by a Nazi with respect, kindness, and consideration as he welcomed her. Dr. Munch and Eva talked over a cup of tea. Dr. Hans Munch had told Eva about his story. At that moment, she noticed a picture of him back in the days, hung on the wall just above the cupboard. There was fury in his eyes, very much different from the eyes she was looking into. Dr. Hans Munch was a bacteriologist at Auschwitz, but he also had a second job. He was then given the task to station outside of the gas chambers and essentially to sign a death certificate when people were dead. It held no names or details of the deceased, just a records on numbers of people that had been murdered. He then confessed that he had been living in a nightmare all these years. He could not live thinking about all that he had done to the people. He was living with a great sense of remorse for years and years. Eva then asked Dr. Munch if he would like to follow her to revisit Auschwitz again, which he then agreed. Why had she felt like doing that at all? Eva thought to herself how incredibly absurd it will be to decide to thank Dr. Munch, which was a former Nazi, despite all that he has done to Eva and her family. She finally decided that writing a letter to forgive the Nazi and all of Auschwitz would suffice. She thought it was a meaningful gift from her to Dr. Munch, but little did she know that it was also the greatest gift to herself. The breakthrough opened her eyes to light, and it changed her life when she realized that she had the power to forgive. Many years, she had felt trapped by the hatred she had towards Nazis. But this realization was something that no one could give her and no one could take away. She finally felt free from the bonds that were keeping her heart in chains. However, Eva did not stop there. She even took the courage and forgave Joseph Mengele, the person who put her through hell and had almost killed her. Eva felt like it was more than just about what she was put through, that the greatest treasure she held dear to her heart was that she could look back at it all and still smile for what she had done in the end. If we do not leave our past where it should be, if we continue to plague our minds with darkness, live for what today has to offer and not for what yesterday has taken away. Eva's story shall forever live on among us all, for it teaches us that forgiveness is nothing more than an act of self-healing and self-empowerment. Everyone has the power to forgive, and so do you.